Good morning, everyone. My name is Grace. I'm 17 years old, and I believe that optimism is not only the best option for the future, but the only one. So to me, optimism means strength, resilience, and perspective. It means choosing to believe that the future can be bright even if your circumstances lean to the opposite. It's about empowering yourself to take hold of your own future, whatever your circumstances may be. I think the wonderful thing about optimism is that it not only equips your future, but your present as well. So let me explain what I mean by the use of an example. I'm in a place in my life where my future seems to be approaching very quickly. My A-level exams are in just under a year, and the alien concept of freedom is almost at my fingertips in the form of university. It's a notion that brings a lot of anxiety and lack of confidence. However, choosing to believe that it will work in my favor has made me significantly less stressed now, therefore increases my productivity and happiness in the present and the likelihood of a good outcome. So optimism, I think, is a prime example of the transformative power of human belief. And I'm sure we all know examples of where simply believing something to be true has had a massive worldwide impact. This is simply because people act on their beliefs, and the action is what changes the world. From my perspective, it makes optimism almost fundamental to the decisions that we make. Now, my feelings towards optimism haven't always been this stable. I found a lot of people have their own views and their own misconceptions about the way we feel and why we make our decisions, and they seem to forget that the world in its infinite possibility is not always out to get us. In the past, I find that my optimism has been labeled as idealistic or unrealistic, and therefore there's no point in believing what I'm saying because it can never happen. I found that to be really worrying because it made me think about how much this mindset actually limits us and how it limits what we can do as a generation in the future. Moreover, it made me wonder how many people actually feel this feeling of futility. It got me thinking about how to separate optimism from this idea of negative idealism, which, when I discussed with Yasmin, led us to thinking about something called intelligent optimism. So intelligent optimism to us is using the facts that you have to feel hopeful about the future. Kind of the difference between hope and optimism there. For example, knowing that there are over 185,000 registered charities in England and Wales, with the numbers growing by 5,000 a year, is enough for me to know that there are people in this world willing to show compassion and actually tackle social issues to make a worthy cause. Knowing this definitely gives me hope for the future. Intelligent optimism is about painting a new version of the world using the supplies that you have. It's about knowing that the future can be better, and to go a step further, that you can make it better. So this is why optimism in young people, I think, is so important. Youth often feel powerless or disconnected from wider global issues, and despite the fact that we're the generation to inherit these issues, I think that this is still prevalent. We must be armed with optimism. It seems that we all have our own notions of what a more just society should be, and we definitely care, but we're not really confident about taking the action. This is why programs like the GSL programme are so paramount, because being in the same room with so many other young people who see the world and want to positively shape it is really reassuring. So our group and really had a platform to make wide-scale impact, and it really put us in an environment that really opened our eyes. I'm really grateful for my journey as a GSL leader, and I'm sure that I'll carry on what I've learned in my life, hopefully. Yeah. So as much as I believe optimism is fundamental in tackling global issues, I think it's also important to talk about optimism in the everyday, so more of the micro elements. In the same way that constant focus on the future can make us forget about the present, our dedication to making global change can often lead us to forget about the individual struggle of the average person. Optimism is a great remedy here too, as it can be the very thing that gets you through the day. Even surrounding yourself with optimistic people can really turn your mood around. One of my most fundamental beliefs is that people should know that their feelings are valid in the moment, but also be able to look forward to a brighter day. The positive effects of optimism on mental health is really amazing. My journey has largely shaped me to be the person that you see standing in front of you today, and my everyday experiences contribute to who I am. A very significant contributor to my positivity are the arts. In the beginning, I mentioned that I saw optimism as being about perspective. The way the arts have a definitive role in my journey to a more optimistic future is this. I think the arts are full of different perspectives, and all of them are so positive, and they can really impact us. So I've loved stories for longer than I remember. Whether it be literature, film, or theatre, I think that stories can transport you and really have the capacity to make you see life in a different way. Optimistic messages in the arts have largely shaped my way of thinking and my approach to life, to the extent where I actually used to think that life was a movie. It's a bit strange. I think that art forms really inspire you to be a little more idealistic, which we all need, because I think we all need a positive escape sometimes. Promoting these positive messages are what have enabled me to feel like I've at least made a little bit of an impact. Even recently taking part in Townley's diversity documentary, which was talking about issues surrounding diversity and representation, has helped me feel optimistic about what I can do given the resources. So this leads me to my final point. Grasping inspiration and taking hold of opportunity seems to me the best way to live. It's not necessarily about having no regrets, because I think that there may be a few of those, but actively equipping yourself with optimism to see the best version of your life is waiting for you. This is what helps you contribute to making the best version of our whole world. Thank you.
A very good morning to all our distinguished guests. My name is Yasmin, and I'm a sixth form student here at Townley. This is my 6th year at Townley. I remember coming into this school as a very nervous and timid year 7 in my rather large blazer, anxious about what waited for me beyond the walls of this grammar school. The first 3 years of my time here, I walked the corridors pretty aimlessly. Academia ruled the roost, and there was no motivation for anything else. Young people crave independence, and yet need to be guided, listened to, complimented on, and critiqued when necessary, and encouraged to follow their passions, inspiring others around them. My mother always tells me that I must never forget the people who give me a helping hand. In our quest to find success, many a times we tend to forget the kindness of good people who do more than what is required of them. They come with an infectious energy that rejuvenates the cynical young mind. They make us feel to want to do better. My momentous change came in year 10. We were quite a challenging form, with strong personalities, seldom in tune. We needed help, we needed a wake-up call, we needed Nanny McPhee. She came to us as our form tutor, Miss McDougall. Miss McDougall championed social causes, while she engaged us in fierce debates on the rights and wrongs of society and introduced us to important feminist issues. We began to see beyond ourselves. She inspired us to look at how we could help others, vulnerable people in our own societies, in the littlest ways possible, giving up our time for charities and educating our peers with information and statistics were small steps in taking care of our own in our immediate vicinity. Winning a first give project of £1,000 for our chosen charity boosted the morale of the whole form. And for the first time, I realized that there is so much that young people can do given the right opportunity and encouragement. We were asked by Miss Blaseby, our assistant head, to help out as wellbeing ambassadors for the school. It gave me a valuable insight into the paramount importance of bringing mental health of young people into the limelight, so that they can be supported and empowered before they reach any crisis point. We were able to voice our thoughts at local conferences wherein we interacted with members of the public to garner their thoughts. In Year 11, under Miss Farag, an amazing group of young women from different year groups came together as a team to work towards the project for global social leaders. Being part of this exciting movement opened my eyes to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This time round, we had a national platform to bring awareness about global issues. The lessons I learned from this experience, well, one was that sometimes executing good ideas required opting for Plan B when Plan A proved tricky. And another was the essential Another was the essential outcome, realizing the potential power of networking. Never underestimate what business cards can do for you. I was also fortunate to participate in leadership enhancing programs orchestrated by Ms. Fabiani and Mr. Dehan, which did wonders to boost my own self-confidence and self-esteem. Mentors are key to making young lives meaningful, and I believe that worthy mentors nurture optimism for the long ride. The ride that sees us get through the roller coaster loop-the-loop called life. All my mentors have helped pack my bag of life with tremendously useful skills. Intelligent optimism ignites an enthusiasm for the unpredictable future. Armed with all these varied experiences, I felt more confident about pursuing my own ideas. I had learnt to let go of the safety of the known. Early this year, Cape Town was in the news for an unprecedented water shortage. It was shocking to see an urban cityscape grapple with this catastrophic situation. Many news articles focused on how with the shortage of water came sanitation failures, disease outbreaks, and anarchy that made governments want to bring in the army to keep the peace. Lack of water brings communal discord, which is why we need to urgently keep discussing on how best to overcome the eventuality of this happening in the cities that we live in. London is in the top 10 cities where water is likely to run out by 2030. Which is why raising awareness for Global Goal 6, an initiative for clean water and sanitation, is key. We need more young people to engage and contribute actively in finding innovative solutions to making clean water accessible to all. For British Science Week, my very passionate team of classmates and I organised a whole day working with 64 students on the topic of water conservation. The students were able to make their own filtration systems to purify dirty water and learn firsthand about the science and technology employed to tackle this issue. It was amazing to see how you could go from brown, murky water to clear water, and the shock on their faces was amazing. During the afternoon, they then had to work on producing their own creative and original campaigns to educate their peers and raise awareness for the global issue of water insecurity. A competition was held to celebrate Townley's young innovators. The winning rap from the Rubber Duckies was a memorable end to the proceedings. It was very encouraging to hear their positive feedback from participating students. With it came a deep sense of satisfaction that knowledge shared was making a meaningful start towards engaging young minds into thinking about the bigger picture. Optimists do not stop looking for avenues to foster change. My fascination for science has taken me down the toilet route. Currently, I am working on a project with a mentor, an electrical engineer from the University of Cambridge, and my amazing biology teacher, Mrs. Funk, on finding an innovative solution towards putting human waste to good use. Fingers crossed for an exciting culmination to this venture. This has been my journey so far in Townley. I now have a new blazer, and most importantly, a sense of purpose as I walk through these corridors. I leave you with these powerful words from my favourite poet, Naira Waheed. Do not choose the lesser life. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Choose the life that is yours. The life that is seducing your lungs, that is dripping down your chin. Thank you.